A very good morning to you, dear students. I welcome you to the final part of your final lesson, Civics, Chapter 6, Directive Principles of State Policy and Fundamental Duties, Part 2. This is your final part. Now, in the first part, what did we learn? We learned some important directive principles of state policy, right? Its meaning and the meaning of fundamental duties. Today we'll go more deep into fundamental duties. Let us understand what are the fundamental duties and what we should do and what we should not do. We have been given a right? Also, we have a duty towards our state. So what are those duties? Respect the national flag, respect the constitution, defend our country, uphold the sovereignty and integrity, safeguard public property. That means we should not destroy public property. Unity in diversity, culture, respect all the cultures, the languages. Protect the environment. We should not destroy the trees, cut down the trees. We should not harm any animals. Strive for excellence. Reminisce the path of freedom. Preserve our culture. Do your part in development. And educate the children. We should be conscious of our responsibilities. We should be aware. All the time we should be aware. Wherever you are, at home or outside, we should be conscious and do a bit in environment. We should not harm anybody, nor the environment. So let's find out what are those duties. Now in explanation part 2, what we will learn the following things. What are fundamental duties? Fundamental duties that Indian citizens need to follow. Fundamental duties which are not being followed in the situations. There are some certain situations which are happening in daily life which should not be followed, should not be done. What are those? We'll find out. Resolutions to make to follow the fundamental duties. What decision you should take to follow the fundamental duties. And lastly, we'll do a final recap of all the civics lessons. A short summary, whatever we learned from chapter 1 to chapter 6. So let's start. I hope you'll enjoy this last part. It's a very interesting part. Pay attention and learn nicely. Okay, children?
The fundamental rights and duties. Fundamental rights. Certain fundamental rights are provided to us by the Constitution of India. Fundamental means something that cannot be taken away from us. Some of our fundamental rights are as follows. Right to equality. All are equal in the eyes of the Constitution. Right to freedom of speech. We all can express our views and ideas. Right against exploitation. Right to follow the religion of choice. People are free to choose any religion and visit any place of worship. Cultural and educational rights. Right to constitutional remedies. Different courts in the country protect our fundamental rights. Fundamental duties. The Indian Constitution also lists down the fundamental duties. Some of the fundamental duties are: we must respect our Constitution and its principles. We all must respect the national flag and the national anthem. All the people of this country must be united and live in peace. We must help the government in our own ways in times of danger. We must treat everyone as equal. We must take care of public property. We must protect our environment. We should not hurt or harm each other.
Good morning and welcome back, children. So we are going to continue with the same chapter, that is chapter number 6, Directive Principles of State Policy and Fundamental Duties. In the first part of the video, we have seen that whatever directive principles that have been implemented by the state, that means which all policies the state need to implement, and accordingly they need to work out for that. Now in this part of the video, we are going to cover with the fundamental duties, that how if we are following, if we feel that we should get all the rights, it's our duty towards nation and that need to be followed. So that is the fundamental duties of every citizen of the country that need to be followed, and we need to work out for that. So let's see that how we can follow fundamental duties and what all duties are there as a citizen of the country that need to be followed. What are fundamental duties? What is its exact meaning when we say that duties need to be followed by every citizen? So it could be defined as a moral obligation of all the citizens to help to promote the spirit of patriotism, equality, brotherhood, harmony, and to uphold the unity of India. So these duties are set out, are mentioned in the Constitution in Part 4A and is concerned with the individuals and with the nation. Fundamental duties. We know that we are residing in a democratic country of India. As a citizen of the country, we are having dual responsibility. The first and foremost thing is that we should not be only vigilant that their rights are not unfairly restricted. That means we should see that whether we are getting the rights that are mentioned in the Constitution in a proper way. But along with these rights, when we are asking for our rights, it's our duty that we follow the duties that are mentioned in the Constitution as per the citizen. That means we should fulfill the duties and the responsibilities that are mentioned. The Constitution has made several provisions through the fundamental rights and the directive principles of the state policy for the welfare of the society, for the people's welfare also. And the benefits of these various schemes of the government cannot reach to all the people if they are not going to fulfill their fundamental duties. That means if certain schemes have been implemented for the people's welfare, it is our responsibility to take care of these schemes and accordingly follow these schemes. That means it is our duty to follow these schemes. Just take an example of a polythene bag that was being banned by the government because of the pollution that was spreading day by day. How many of us had clearly followed that and is being followed in the country? At many places here these plastic bags have been sold, and especially at the vegetable vendor. So what, though it has been instructed and restricted that not to use such bags because it is polluting the air, but still it is being followed. So what is our fundamental duty in that? That we should avoid using these bags. While going for a shopping or while purchasing a thing, we can take a paper bag or a cloth bag. This way we are imparting our duty towards our nation as well as towards the environment. One example we have seen in the previous slide. One more example we can see that the government has implemented several projects, and among them one of the project was Swachh Bharat scheme. But how many people are still following that? We know, we have seen an example of plastic bags. We know at certain places public toilets were not there. Toilets were not there in the rural areas. So these toilets were being and people were being made understand about the health and hygiene. But what about the cleanliness that is not being followed in cities at public places also? So isn't our duty to do that? To keep the public places clean, because ultimately they are meant for our facilities so that we can get use of that facilities. We can be getting benefited by these facilities. But if we are making such places dirty, then what all duties we are doing towards the country? Nothing. We are spoiling our nation by spreading dirtiness everywhere. So it's our responsibility to see that we keep such places neat and clean. In order that the Indian citizens become conscious of their responsibilities, fundamental duties were included in the Constitution to make people aware about their duties and responsibilities. That is why they have been included in the Constitution. So among them, few of the fundamental duties that every Indian citizens need to follow, they are as mentioned in the Indian Constitution, it is our duty to respect our national flag and our national anthem. Whenever it is said, we are standing and we are saluting our national flag as well as our national anthem. It is very important to inspire our life, and it is only possible when we follow certain noble idols, the great personalities who had struggled hard, who had sacrificed their life for freedom. And we should understand its importance, and we should not take advantage of this freedom. The advantage of freedom can lead to any negativity or can harm the peace of the country. So, as a citizen of the country, we should enjoy our freedom but to a limit. We should understand our limit of enjoying the freedom. To uphold and protect the unity, equality, and integrity of our country, India. To protect and defend the country wherever it is required, and to render the service, national service, when it is being required, when you have been called upon to do so. We know that our national heroes had sacrificed their life in many events, in many incidences. We should understand their sacrifices, and accordingly, if we are involving ourselves in these services, we should give 100% to our nation. Protect harmony and spirit of common brotherhood, transcending diversity. We know that we are a part of India. We are having different states, and every state is important for its food, for its lifestyle, and for the different religions that India is having. But still, we are united. We celebrate different festivals, we come together unitedly and celebrate them. Even to renounce practices derogatory to the dignity of women. That means women should also be given equal rights in the society, and she should not be harassed. Equal respect, whatever she deserves, that should be given to her. It is very important to value and preserve the rich heritage of a composite culture. That means whatever facilities or whatever heritages that have been given to us by our ancestors, forefathers, and by our different personalities, that need to be preserved. To protect and improve the natural environment, and to have compassion for living creatures. We give respect to human beings. We take care of them whenever they are sick, or we are having respect whenever we are celebrating festivals, we come together. The same importance should be given to the environment and other living creatures that are present on the earth. That means animals, birds, even they are having right to live, so equal importance should be given to them also. To develop the scientific temper, humanism, and spirit of inquiry and reform. That means we should try to see that everywhere justice, equality is being followed in the society. And if it is not so, we are having a right to speak for that. We do so, but whatever our duties are there regarding that, we should also follow that. To safeguard public property and to abjure violence. That means if any public actions are taking place, what individual reaction is there, or what ultimately people are going to do, they are going to harm the public properties. So that should not be done. Violence should not be there in the society. We need to follow the three principles that are given by our great leader Mahatma Gandhi ji. That is truth, non-violence, and peace in the society. To strive towards excellence in all spheres of individual and collective activity, so that the nation constantly rises to higher levels of endeavor and achievement. That means if we are getting a good education and we are getting whatever we want, that means our duty is there that we serve towards nation afterwards, so that our nation move on to a higher levels, and our country should also be considered as one of the good countries that provides an excellence education, and its citizens are enjoying towards the betterment of the country. Every citizen of India who is a parent or guardian should provide opportunities of education to his or her child or ward between the age of 6 and 14 years. We know that this is a This is an article that is mentioned in the Constitution, as well as this is a rule by the government that every child, though it may be a boy or a girl, should get at least primary education between the age of 6 to 14 years, so that the child should at least learn basic education that is being required. It is the duty of the parent to see that the child gets education. No child should be forced to do any kind of labor work in their childhood, or they should be forced to do any kind of activities that are not being required. So it is a duty of the parent to see that their child is getting at least primary education. Few pictures are given in your textbook on page number 85, and a question has been raised in the textbook that which of the fundamental duties are not being followed in the situation given here. We need to see the pictures and we need to analyze that which duties are being not followed. First of all, a boy is scribbling on a historical structure. Is it a correct thing? We need to preserve our monuments so that whatever future generations are coming, they can see whatever our historical heritages are there. Then the next one is hanging lemon and chilies. This is a superstition, blind belief that should not be done. Then damaging a public bus means we are creating violence and we are harming the peace and harmony in the society. So that should not be done. A woman emptying a garbage can on the street. Is it a correct thing? We are seeing many people are there who are while traveling, they are throwing the waste outside the windows, or from the train also they'll throw below the seat where they are sitting. So is it a correct thing? What we are doing? We are spoiling the places that are meant for our purpose, for our safety as well as for our benefit, and we are spoiling them. So it is completely wrong that we should not do so. We should preserve the property that is meant for us because it is for our betterment, for our benefit. So it is our responsibility that we should manage these things properly. Here is one picture in your textbook on page number 86. The children are asking questions to each other and they are telling the problem what they are suffering with in their particular place wherever they are living. Now let's see which all problems they are facing. The river in our village does not look like a river at all. What an amount of plastic waste. Even if anybody tells me I will never throw any waste in the river, is it our responsibility that to see that we are not spoiling the rivers, because ultimately these are the water sources and from there we can get the fresh water. But what we are doing, we are spoiling them by throwing waste in the river, and this we can see in the cities also at present. That is all right, but what about those who are producing deafening sounds? That means at public places during the festival times, many speakers are being used to produce a huge amount of sound. Through this, we are spreading noise pollution. Many may be suffering with the health issues and they may suffer also. The one who are good also they can suffer. So it's our responsibility. If we want to enjoy, we should see that we are not disturbing others' peace. People just don't seem to realize that these things while celebrating the festivals are also creating lots of noise pollution. We should also be insistent on responsibilities as citizens. So it's our responsibility that we should understand that we are harming the peace of the society, and the people who are living in the society are also getting trouble because of such things. It is our duty to protect the resources and public property of our country because ultimately they are meant for us. If you're going to misuse them, then they would be of no use, and we are going to harm the environment, the nature, the country, and the properties that are meant for us. Let us start step by step that how we are going to take resolutions. Now you know what are resolutions. Every year when the beginning of a new year is there, we take certain resolutions that we are going to follow these rules in our life throughout the year. And every year we take this oath and accordingly we try to follow. So very few are there that who do not take the resolutions. They don't understand its importance and they don't follow accordingly. Now the first one is, let us tell girls and boys to go to school and to take at least primary education. After that is, let us use the different facilities in school responsibly that are meant for us. We should use them properly so that it is for our purpose, we are going to use them. So if we are going to destroy them or we are going to harm these properties, it will be of no use. Let us be proud of our country, that whatever our country has provided to us. Let us participate in the festivals of different religions and treat everyone equally in the society, because ultimately we are the part of this democratic country. We are, though following different religions, but still we are united. Let us enjoy these festivals by avoiding pollutions and harming to the environment, harming to the life of the people who are facing different health issues. Let us use public facilities, properties in a proper way and take good care of them at the same time, so that they have been useful for us for many years. Let us perform all the tasks that we have undertaken honestly, always striving for excellence. That means whatever task, whatever oath these children have took in the picture, they try to follow them in their life accordingly and try to achieve the best goal, whatever task they have fixed for them. Now, next question is that which duties are reflected in the dialogues? Are they following the duty towards the nation and towards the environment, as well as towards the individual and society? Is there a relationship between the rights and the duties? Rights are meant wherein you get justice for the things that are meant in the constitution, and duties and responsibilities as a citizen of the country are to be followed. So if you will that you should get proper rights, it is your duty in return to show your responsibilities towards your nation. What do you think happens when we follow our duties? When we are going to follow our duties, automatically the nation is going to progress. Everywhere there would be peace and harmony in the society, and health and hygiene would be maintained. No one would be in trouble. And automatically, now India is a developing country. Slowly and gradually, it would be one of the good country which would have all the things in a as per the nations other countries are having. So, as a citizen of the country, it's our duties and responsibilities that we need to follow them accordingly. In this academic term of Standard 7th, you have studied civics. And while studying this subject, we have seen different chapters. Beginning with the first chapter, we have seen about the Indian Constitution, how it was made, what was its background, who were the makers of the Constitution, the features, the necessity, why the Constitution is required by the country, whatever goals were being introduced in this Constitution, the features of the Constitution and how they are being followed in the country. When was the Constitution made? And accordingly, when we celebrate the Constitution Day and the Republic Day of our country, India. We also considered the rights of the Indian citizens and the legal protection guaranteed to these rights by the Constitution. We have studied about different fundamental rights of the Indian citizens that are mentioned in the Constitution. We have studied about directive principle of state policies and fundamental duties of every citizen of the country, how we need to follow them accordingly. If we expect that the rights need to be fulfilled, on the other hand, we should see that we are owing our responsibilities in a proper manner, in a systematic manner, so that our country should not have any kind of complaint towards the citizens, and everyone should fulfill their responsibilities in a proper manner. Then only our country would progress and would achieve to its goal, wherein whatever our freedom fighters who had sacrificed their life at the time of independence might have thought. So let's, being a citizen of the country, fulfill all our duties and accordingly follow the rights that have been mentioned in the Constitution to make our country a progressive country in the world. In this part of the video, we have seen that whatever directive principles of the state policy have been mentioned, as a citizen of the country, how we need to follow our fundamental duties. The policies that have been mentioned in the Constitution are flexible, so that whenever the funds are available, the state can implement these policies, and accordingly changes can also be made as per the requirement. As a citizen of the country, what all duties are there need to be followed by every citizen. And these duties, while following, we should not harm anyone. Other than that, we should try to preserve our heritage, our culture, and we should try to maintain unity without harming anyone, without harming the peace and security of the nation. My dear children, here we end up with our video. Thank you for watching the video. Take care. Bye-bye.